Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this event, Workshop Facilitation Mastery. My name is Mark Miles. It's my absolute pleasure, honor, and privilege to welcome you all along to this two-day event. I know we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to learn a lot, and we're going to really get to know each other, and we're going to build some great connections. So I am super excited to be here today, be your presenter as we travel through the next 2 days. Before we go any further, what I would love to do, everyone, if you can drop a yes in the chat and let me know that you can hear me and see me. Drop a yes in the chat if you can hear me and see me. Awesome, fantastic, folks. Great to see the yeses coming through and great to see some familiar faces and some longtime friends and even some new friends there as well, which is awesome. Well, as I said, I am super excited because my intention is for you guys to walk away from this event with some new skills, some new structures, some new mindsets, which will help you become even more confident, even more engaging, and even more effective in the training room, which is fantastic. But before we go any further, I'd love to do some Zoom protocols so that we're all on the same page as to regards like how the event's going to flow and how we're going to operate. So on that note, on this first slide here, we've got some Zoom protocols. You don't need to do anything. Just sit there and just listen as I quickly go through these. So number one, know where the nearest exit is. If there's an emergency, you need to take care of something, just go ahead and run and take care of it, right? Make sure you are set up ergonomically, regularly stand up and move around during the breaks. And if you got two screens, fantastic. If you got a comfortable chair, fantastic, right? Number three, come back from breaks on time. Come back time for the breaks will always be in the chat, so you will always know when to come back. Number four, stay muted unless you are speaking. Number five, there distractions and phones. If you can minimize distractions as much as possible, that would be great. If you're like me, maybe you have a lot of tabs going on your computer. If you can close them as much as possible, that would be great. And phone calls, if you have to take them, that's okay. But if you could take them at break times and at lunchtime, that would be even better. And lunchtime, as I mentioned in the emails, will be at 12 o'clock each day. Number six, very important one, ask questions by. What I would love to do is set up a protocol. If you have any questions at all throughout the entire event, I would love you to drop a Q in the chat. And I'd love to practice that right now. So everyone, can you drop a Q in the chat there? Awesome. Great to see the Qs coming through them. For me, I just find that works really well because if I'm sharing some information, I got a stream of consciousness going on, and someone unmutes themselves and say, "I've got a question," it can throw me off a little bit. So dropping the Q, really good way to do that there. Then we got a C, which stands for comment. Everyone, let's practice dropping a C. Excellent, great to see. And a C is for comment. If you want to add anything to the conversation that we're going through, feel free to drop a C. Next one is a T. Everyone drop a T in the chat. Excellent, great. So T is anytime you need a bit more time on a task, maybe you're still writing something on the manual, or you need me to make some allowances, or maybe there's a tech issue going on or something like that. Go ahead, just drop a T and we'll give you some more time for that, right? But let's just practice the protocol one more time. Everyone drop a Q in the chat. Excellent, great to see. Number seven there is if you are going to step away, do drop a message in the chat just so that I know that you're not here, because I don't always have visuals on your photos or on your cameras there. So if you are going to step away, just out of courtesy, just drop a message in the chat and that'll help me know that you're here or not here. Now, the next thing is just a note about attendance. We do have some people that are available only for certain times over today and tomorrow, just out of health reasons or any other reasons, like they had a scheduling clash. However, they made the commitment. They did want to come along. So you may find that some people step out at certain times, or some people are joining us at certain times, which is super exciting as well. So just know that there could be a flow of people. However, as much as possible, the more you're here, the more you're going to get out of the event, right? Number eight there, excuse people's typos. We welcome typos. We don't get too fussed about typos because we want a safe learning environment. Number nine, collaborate, give grace, and remember, no one gets left behind. So everyone drop a G for grace in the chat box there if you could for me, please. And that's basically just the idea of if something goes wrong, that's okay. We just take a deep breath. and go, it will be okay, right? Now, that's going to relate to me. If I have a tech issue, you have a tech issue, or someone else has a tech issue, we just go, it'll be okay. And in the worst case scenario, if you need to log out and log back in, just go ahead, do that. And you can shoot me a text anytime on my number there, 0415 246 321. And what I would love you to do is go ahead, write that down, and let me know that you've got that. That would be great. That'd be great. Awesome. Awesome. So, those are some protocols that I would love to set up. And not yet, but in a moment, we're now going to do a quick thing called a shout out. A shout out. Now, that is this is a moment where we kind of get to know who's in the room and kind of the background that you guys have got there. So, on that note, I'm going to come back to our screen here. And what we're going to do, we're going to hear from some people. And what I'd love you to do is share with us your first name and your last name, so full name, your geographic location, where you are based. And last of all, if you could tell us the industry that you work in or the common topics that you train and present on, that would be great. So that would sound like, hi, my name is Bill Smith. I'm in Adelaide and I talk about leadership, or I run programs on psychology, whatever it may be, right? So not yet, but in a moment, we're going to hear from Craig, then Mary, then Bill, then Frank, and we're going to go in that order, right? So not yet, but in a moment, you're going to unmute yourself, tell us your full name, where you are, and the industry or topics that you speak on. On that note, folks, we're going to kick it off with Craig. Over to you there, sir. Thank you so much. Go for it. Awesome. Well done, team. Well done. Well done. Everyone, go ahead and drop a nice to meet you in the chat for me, please. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Awesome. Next thing, we're going to do another round of the old shout out. And as I'm going to allude to, we're just scratching the surface here, folks. We're just going to get to know each other slowly over the next 2 days. We're going to find out more and more information. But at this point, all I'd love you to do is, not yet, but a moment, you're going to unmute yourself and you're going to tell us one thing that you enjoy doing in your free time. It could be, I don't know, gardening. It could be photography, or it could be sport. Maybe there's a sport you love. I would love you to tell us what's a passion or a hobby or something you enjoy doing on the weekends or in your free time. And ideally, if you could talk about an activity, that would be great. Not something like, spending time with family. If you can make a specific activity, that would be great. So it could be watching movies. That's fine. But on that note, over to Craig there. If you could share, what's one activity that you enjoy doing or some kind of pastime? Excellent. Next person. All right, cool. Awesome. Next person. Fantastic. Next person. All righty, cool. So everyone, thank you so much for sharing. And everyone, drop a TY in the chat there for thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Really, really appreciate that. And we're going to build on that knowledge and build on that information as we travel through the course. So not yet, but in a moment, many of you actually know me. Many of you and I have been friends for a very long time. Some of you we've met recently. Other people have gone through my courses. Other people I'm virtually meeting for the very first time, literally. I would love to just take a few moments to share with you, I guess, who I am and a little bit about my journey, then what kind of brings me here today to be with you. So for those that haven't met me before, my name is Mark Miles. I have been a trainer probably for about more than 15 years now. And many of you do know my story, but in this little segment, I'd love to reveal a little bit more than you've ever heard before and give you even more context, right? So, as many of you know, was born in Melbourne, grew up on the Gold Coast, and after university, I went and lived in Japan for 7 years. Over in Japan, I was teaching English and then got to a stage where I was actually teaching other teachers how to teach. And I would sit in a booth with headphones on, listen to other teachers teach, and then I would sit down with them and have mentoring and coaching sessions with them to help them get their lessons even better. And I started to realize there were certain systems and patterns that had to be in place for people to really take on new information. I also discovered very quickly what annoyed customers and got them upset and disappointed with their studies, so to speak, or their learning experiences. Eventually came back to Australia and started working at a university here on the Gold Coast. But I would have to say it was a real growth experience because day one, I walked into the lecture hall and my ego got absolutely destroyed. It got crushed because after that day one, I realized that nothing I did in Japan worked anymore because all of these students that I was in front of were from different countries, different ethnic backgrounds, and different cultural experiences that they brought to the training room I had never encountered before. And I had to get very good very fast and be able to think on my feet to be able to be innovative and creative to really engage all these different types of learners. But during my time there, I thought, I know, I'd love to become a corporate trainer. I was inspired for the next step, right? But someone said to me at the time, Mark, do you have your TAA? I thought, what's that? Never heard of it. But I made a decision, signed up, and I went off to my 6-month long train the trainer or Cert 4 in training and assessment. And that's all good. That was all fine. And that was sort of my intro into the world of training, so to speak. But I did come out of that course a little bit despondent, disappointed, and if I can be honest, a little bit surprised because I went through that course and I didn't really feel that I learned the skills and the knowledge to be able to really effectively engage audiences and do it in a memorable fashion. Now, soon after that course, though, and this is where it gets a little bit of a tangent that I don't share with most people. During that time, there actually had a relationship breakdown. And I got to know an NLP coach, and she was kind of helping me through this relationship breakdown. And lo and behold, she was actually an NLP coach working for an organization. And she said, Mark, we got a seminar coming up on the weekend. I think you really need to go to it. And I'm like, no, I'm all good. I'm all good. I don't need to learn anything more. My life's under control. And she said, Mark, you've come to me for these issues. I really think that you need to get along to this workshop. And she gave me this golden ticket, so to speak. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. But she said, Mark, she said the magic words that transformed my life. She literally said, Mark, how much is your life worth to you? How much is your life worth to you? And in that moment, my heart sank and my ears really opened up because I realized she had a point. If I was going to get anywhere further, I had to be open to new learning and new areas of discovery. So I made the decision and I went all along to that 2.5-day seminar called Breakthrough to Success. I went along to that seminar and it was probably about 500, maybe 600 people in a convention center in Brisbane at the exhibition center. I walked in the room and I was mesmerized for the next 2.5 days because I saw someone up on stage doing things that I had never, ever seen possible, being able to engage an audience in a way that I was like blown away. And I was touched, moved, and inspired by what he did on stage. And it was in that moment I made a decision. I decided I wanted to be able to do just like that. And I wanted to have the skills to be able to influence an audience. So I went away and I made a decision. I wanted to be able to save up my money and be able to attend their public speaking course. I made the decision. And essentially, next time around, I went along and I signed up for their public speaking course. And essentially signed up. It was a 9-day public speaking course. And it was very, very, very intense. But a lot of the things that I learned at that course, I then went away and actually used it, right? What a crazy idea, right? I used it, I implemented it, and along my journey, I landed a role as a lead trainer for an RTO, registered training organization, and I was able to travel all around Australia teaching the TAE, the train the trainer qualification, and deploying and sharing a lot of what I learned at that public speaking course, right? Which was super exciting because I was able to teach people that were a little bit scared around public speaking and equip and empower them with the tools, the knowledge, and the structure to be able to go out and really make a difference, which was really, really exciting. But over the last 2 or 3 years, I've had the honor and privilege of writing my book, getting that out to the marketplace, and essentially, really packaging the information up into a book and sharing that with lots of people there. And the feedback that's come back has been pretty good. I've been pretty happy with the feedback there. Some of you probably already read the book. Maybe you've read some of the book. Maybe some of you have read all of the book, which is great. Having said that, you don't need to have completed the book to be here, but if you have, that's pretty cool too. So, on that note, what we're going to do, we're going to jump into a bit of an activity and we're going to throw it back over to you guys. And what I would like you to do and think about is for you personally, who is a public speaker, presenter, or trainer in the world that you really admire or that you think is quite effective? So I'd like you to think about, maybe it's a politician, maybe it is a podcaster, maybe it is a celebrity, or maybe it's someone that's like a world leader. What I'd love you to do, not yet, but in a moment, you head to a breakout room. I'd like you to simply share with your partner, who is it for you? And what's one of the characteristics that you think makes them a really, really effective public speaker? Could be anyone at all. Could be someone in your inner circle or a world famous person as well. So on that note, you're going to head to a breakout room. Now, breakout room is simply where you're going to be with one or two other people, and you're simply going to be in that room by yourselves and you're going to have a chat. Then I'm going to bring you back in probably about a minute, minute and a half. And then I'd love you to share, who was it for you and why in particular. On that note, folks, head to your rooms. And if we have any tech issues with the breakout rooms, that's okay. We just roll with it and we'll get there. So on that note, head to your rooms and I'll bring you back in about a minute, minute and a half. And let's go for a team. Awesome. Awesome. Welcome back, team. Welcome back. All right, folks, let's check in with some people. So let's come over to Frank. Frank, if you could unmute yourself and share, I'd love you to share with the crew, the group, who was it for you or who is it for you and why in particular? Maybe it's a famous person, could be anyone at all. Drop in the, yeah, love you to share with the group. Go for it. Frank, who have you got and why? Awesome. And let's come over to Craig. Who is it for you and why? Excellent. And let's go with Susan. Who is it for you and why? Excellent. Bill, who is it for you and why? Awesome, folks. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for sharing. And what we love to do here in my world is we love to acknowledge all of the shares. So everyone, drop an AJ in the chat there. AJ for awesome job. Drop an AJ in the chat for me if you could, please. Love that. Excellent. Awesome job, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for sharing. On that note, next thing we want to do is we want to set our course for the course. We want to make sure that you guys get massive value as you travel through the next 2 days. So what we're going to do, we're going to check out our manuals here, folks. We're going to set our course. So if you could turn to page 6, first of all, now, hopefully you've all printed out the manual. Before I go any further, can you drop a yes in the chat if you printed out the manual? If you printed out the manual, drop a yes in the chat if you dropped that, if you've done that. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, awesome. Now, it's actually page 4. My apologies there. It's page 4. So on page 4 there, we've got a space for you to fill out what you would love your tomorrow to look like in regards to training. What do you love your tomorrow to look like? Okay. Now that could be something like, well, I would love my learners to be fully engaged. Well, I would love to have even more clarity and even more confidence. Or, well, I would love my learners to run up the back of the room and buy what I'm selling. Could be anything at all. I'd love you to drop in the chat. Oh, sorry, not drop in the chat, drop on the page. What would you love your tomorrow to look like? Then after that, I'd like you to drop on the page there 3 things that you would love to learn as you go through today and tomorrow. Could be anything at all. Then last of all there, we've got what made you decide to take the action to sign up to come along to this training? And it could be logical reasons or emotional reasons as well. So not yet, but in a moment, you guys are going to head to a breakout room by yourselves. By yourselves. And what I would love you to do is simply share with each other. My bad. You're going to head to a breakout room with a partner. And I'd love you to share with your partner the answer to the first question there. Would you love your tomorrow to look like? And then share with your partner what's three things you would love to learn. And then last of all, just have a share with your partner what made you make the decision to sign up and come along. Could be anything at all. Now, I'm going to give you about 2.5 minutes for this. So that'll be enough time if you just have a chat back and forth. As you are chatting back and forth, you can make some notes on the page there. But I find it's easier to verbalize the words than write things down. If you try and think about it, write it, it can take a little bit longer and harder to get the ideas out there, right? So you may get one person says, what does your tomorrow look like in regards to training? Okay. And then next thing was your tomorrow. Excellent. What's three things you love to learn? This, and this, and this. Awesome. Swap over to the other person. And then make some notes on the last question there. If that's clear for you, just drop a C in the chat and let me know that that's all clear. Excellent. Excellent. Alrighty, folks. So head to your rooms and I'll bring you back in about 2.5 minutes. Thanks so much, team. See you very shortly. Alrighty, welcome back, team. Welcome back. Welcome back. What I would love you to do is drop in the chat. What is your answer for number two there? The three things you would love to learn. What really popped into mind as you were looking at question two there? Drop in the chat. What's three things you would love to learn as we travel through the course? Love it. Alrighty, folks, drop in the chat and take as much time as you want or need for typing it out. It's totally fine. You can put in short bullet points or long sentences, totally up to you how you want to play that. Excellent. Love it. All right, cool. Great to see that coming through. Great to see that. Awesome. Everyone, if your partner shared some pretty cool stuff, drop a yes in the chat and let's acknowledge their shares. Awesome. Alrighty, folks. So on that note, what I would love to do is simply share with you a little bit of the origins of this book. All right. And for me, I have to be a little bit raw with you for just a moment. Now, I don't know about you, but public speaking was never an easy thing for me. Now, if you had been with me back in high school, oh my gosh, you would have seen me have so many embarrassing moments, right? If you had been with me in my grade 11 English class, oh my gosh, right? So I made the silly decision of actually thinking, I know, I'm going to teach my grade 10 or 11 class how to do CPR. Now, if you had been with me at the time, you would have seen me in my school uniform, and I had actually asked my best friend Ben to actually be my volunteer or my pretend dummy, so to speak, and get him to lie on the ground. And I was trying to present and share how to do CPR with my classmates, but strangely, I lost all the saliva in my mouth and none of the words could actually come out. And I was pretty embarrassed in that moment. But even worse was afterwards, all the ridicule and the jokes and all the things that came my way, right? Grade 11 teenage boys, right, made fun of me. But after that moment, I made the decision. I decided I was never, ever going to let public speaking get in my way. And I made a decision that I really wanted to overcome this hurdle. Now, here's the deal, folks. After having worked as a trainer, presenter, coach, and facilitator for over 15 years now, I have discovered that regardless of who we are, regardless of our journey in being a trainer and presenter or communicator, we all face three core problems. And I'd love you to grab a pen and write these down, right? These three core problems really are the area that people can get massive growth in or can really hold them back as a trainer and presenter. So these three core problems. So number one is ultimately, as we're training people, how do we effectively engage our audience? And I'm going to go ahead and make this font as big as I can here, folks. So how do we effectively engage our audiences, considering there is so many competing distractions or other things going on for their time, right? So engaging their audiences. Number two, there is how do we capture and hold people's attention for longer periods of time? Drop a yes in the chat if you would agree that nowadays time like attention span is dropping faster and faster and faster than ever before. Who would agree with that statement? Drop a yes in the chat if you would agree with that. Awesome. And now studies are actually showing that attention span is down to 3 minutes, folks. 3 minutes. Everyone drop a 3 in the chat for me, please. Excellent. 3 minutes, right? Now, next thing, we all face the challenge of how do we make our content as memorable as possible, as memorable as possible. And essentially, over the next 2 days, I would love to share with you, and you will pick up the tools to be able to engage your audiences even deeper, even more powerfully. Capture and hold their attention for longer periods of time and make your content as memorable as possible and really make you the standout trainer in your industry. If you already are, fantastic, and we're going to go broaden your impact and make it even stronger there, right? So we got the three core problems: engagement, attention, and making it memorable. Awesome. On that note, we're going to come and we're going to check out our rules of engagement. And you may want to turn to page 6 in your manuals there, page 6 in your manuals. And basically, page 6, we just set up some rules of engagement of how we want to play the game. If you could turn to page 6, and once you've done that, just drop a 6 in the chat for me, please, just so I know where you are and that you've got and you've found page 6 for me. Awesome, folks. So not yet, but in a moment, I'd love you to just read through the rules on page 6 there. They're a little bit stretchy, they're a little bit fun, but I'd love you to just read through them. And if you agree to them, I'd love you to sign the bottom of the page there. And then once you've signed it, drop an A for agree into the chat box there if you could for me, please. And I'm going to just stand here. I'm going to check them out just so I'm familiar with them as well. And once you've read through them, sign the bottom and then drop an A in the chat for agree there. Alrighty, folks. Fantastic, fantastic. Could be a few challenging ones on there, but we'll see how we go. We'll see how we go. Awesome. On that note, just to let you know about the agenda. So today we've already started. As I said, lunch will be at 12 o'clock, Queensland time. I do need to reinforce that, Queensland time. We do have some people in different states joining us today, which is super exciting. It's a national training. And then tomorrow we're going to start at 8:30 or 8:20. We'll see how people go. But the earlier you get here, the quicker we start. Finishing, we'll probably finish around 4:30. Each day, what are we going to cover? We're going to cover some cool stuff. We're going to learn some stuff. We're going to practice doing some stuff. And then we're going to play some games and all that good stuff. Day 2, we're going to learn some more models. We're going to play some more games. And we're going to just essentially learn some new insights that it's going to help you see training and presenting a little bit differently than ever before. On that note, though, in regards to breaks and all that, we're going to have breaks throughout the day. Pretty much every hour or so, we're going to have some breaks, long breaks, short breaks, and lunch will be at 12 o'clock, as I said. So if you can organize to do things at lunch times, that would be even better. Now, having said that, as I said, there have been some conversations around people not being able to make sections, and that's totally fine. I will flow with that. But I will remind you that at the end of the 2 days, you will get a recording. So anything you do miss, that's okay. It'll be coming through to you. And that's really cool. So on that note, though, a couple of assumptions about you. Number 1, you have read my book or are considering reading it. That would be great. If you don't, that's okay. But many of the things that we talk about over today and tomorrow will relate to my book or will have come from my book. All right. Now, absolutely, there's going to be a lot more that I've added to this training that's not in the book. So you guys are getting extra special goods. You are a trainer who has delivered or facilitated training previously. So maybe you've run workshops in the past or you're looking to do that, or maybe you've trained in the past or presented, maybe you've done corporate workshops, could be anything at all in that category. You're a trainer who's committed to wanting the best results for you and your learners, and you're curious about how to make that happen. Cool. You're someone who's looking to get better at public speaking or facilitating in some way, shape, or form. And last of all, you're willing to put in 100% over the next 2 days, whatever that means for you or looks like for you. Everyone, drop a yes in the chat if these assumptions about you are partially or if not completely correct there. Fantastic, fantastic. So on that note, in regards to today and tomorrow, you will be doing a couple of what I call mini presentations or little segments of you talking to each other. Now, they won't be too difficult. They won't be too challenging at all. They're just going to be segments of you talking about, like talking to another human and practicing using the structures. All right. They're not going to be hard at all, but I'm going to tell you the topic to talk about in one situation and another situation. For example, in one situation, you may talk about a topic from your world, your industry, and another time you'll be talking about a different topic that's something that you're really passionate about. But the topic is kind of irrelevant, not so much of a concern for me. And we're going to scaffold everything through so you are completely confident and you're going to be all okay. On that note, though, we do want to set up some empowering beliefs for you to set yourselves up for success. And what I would love you to do is turn to page 9 in your manuals, please. Page 9 in your manuals, all right? So for me, as I mentioned, back in 2009, I did my very first public speaking course 9 days straight. And it was intense. It was intense. And we would present from, I think it was 8:30 in the morning until about 6 o'clock at night. We would learn in this big auditorium. We'd learn a skill. Then we'd go out to the hallway and we'd present to 5 or 6 people, get feedback, then go back into the room and get feedback or get a new skill, go out and present again. And that process, it was pretty intense, folks. Drop an I for intense if you think that might be a little bit intense. Absolutely, it was, right? But there were some empowering beliefs that the trainer shared on day 2.5 that really impacted me and allowed me to get through the course, so to speak, right? So I'd love to share those beliefs with you right now. So if you check out page 9 there for me, page 9. So the first belief I'd love to share with you is number 1, there is no such thing as a perfect presentation. So number 1, there's no such thing as a perfect presentation. And what we mean by that is the more we try to script things, the more we try to get things perfect, the more we try and pick exactly the perfect way to say something, the more we actually disconnect from our heart and from our audience, right? So great training is about creating deep connection. Everyone, drop a C in the chat for connection for me, please. Awesome. All right. So at the end of the day, it's all about how deeply I can connect with my audience and touch, move, and inspire them, right? So no such thing as the perfect one, only the one that really connects. Number 2, every presentation is practice for the next. Every presentation is practice for the next. So last time I was running a course, I was practicing for you guys. This time when I'm delivering this, I'm practicing for my next one and my next one and my next one and my next one. Okay. So there's no such thing as a perfect one. And every presentation is practice for the next, which allows you to tweak, modify, and enhance every single session that you do. Now, the third one there is the more I present, the more confident I get. The more I present, the more confident I get. And what we need to appreciate is that many people run away from public speaking. But once I heard this one, I'm like, whoa, that is cool. So in order to get better, I probably just need to do a little bit more of it, right? And the idea around confidence is interesting. We think that, when I'm confident, then I will do the task. But it's actually competence that builds confidence. I'll say it again. It's competence that builds confidence. All right. So we don't actually get confident around riding a horse until we actually get on the horse and ride the horse. Okay. So public speaking, it's exactly the same. When you get up on stage, you realize you don't die, then you start to build the confidence, right? But where confidence goes wrong is that people are put into situations that are beyond what they believe they are capable of. They lose self-belief and they're like, no, never trying that again. All right. Now, number 4 here is feedback is my competitive advantage. Feedback is my competitive advantage. What I would love you to do, we got number 1, no such thing as perfect presentation. Number 2, every presentation is practice for the next. Number 3, the more I present, the more confident I get. Number 4, feedback is my competitive advantage. Now, not all feedback is valuable, but what we want to be looking and thinking about is the more you can appreciate the feedback you get back, the more you can actually self-reflect and go, okay, that thing I just did, yeah, I was pretty happy about that. The thing that I just did, I wasn't really happy about that, but I'm willing to take on feedback in the moment and go, okay, cool. How could I make that even better next time, right? And in my book, I think I talk about the 2 powerful self-reflection questions there. What am I really happy about? And what's one thing I would do differently? But what I would love you to do, drop in the chat 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one really stands out to you as a really empowering belief that you could have? Drop in the chat. Which one is it for you? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which one is it for you? All right. Fantastic. Fantastic. So next topic that we're going to have a look at is that topic of being nervous. Everyone drop an N for nervous in the chat box if you could for me, please. Beautiful, right? Now, I don't know about you, but for me personally, for a long time, and even still to this day, I can get a little bit nervous before I present. And the good news is it never goes away. Now, you may think that's not actually good news, but I have a strange belief that if you're not getting nervous, it probably means, or if you're not caring in some way, shape, or form, or if you're not getting at least a little bit anxious or a little bit actually in that state of worry or at least concern a little bit about your performance, then maybe you're not taking the facilitation role as seriously as you could be. So for me, I actually welcome the nervous butterflies, so to speak, right? Because if they stop, then I probably am no longer taking the game seriously enough, right? And I'm not valuing my audience. So let's chat about how we can overcome any nervousness or anxiety. So the first one that we want to have a look at, like there's a number of strategies. First one we want to look at is don't fight the biology. It will happen. What we mean by this is anytime you go to a new audience or new environment or even new topic, you are going to get a little bit of cortisol because you're stressing, a little bit of adrenaline because those chemicals put together are going to put you in that state for optimal performance. Okay. So don't fight the biology. It's going to happen no matter what, anytime and every time you have a new aspect to your delivery. Now, number 2, label it appropriately. And one of my dear mentors says, in life, we can either label something as in something that's going to help us or disempower us. And he suggested like labeling your anxiety, your nervousness as enhancement, or even expansion, folks. Everyone drop an E for expansion into the chat box there for me, if you could, please. Expansion. Beautiful. Because here's the deal, folks. After every presentation, I don't know about you, but I generally find a sense of expansion about who I am and potentially what I'm actually capable of, which is pretty cool. So expansion. So if you're taking notes, you may want to write down the word expansion. And anytime as you travel through today and tomorrow, you may find that you're expanding a little bit. And if you are, awesome, fantastic. Before you present, you may just be expanding a little bit. All right. Now, the third one there is walk, breathe, get the energy out of your system, but also ask yourself the important impact question. And that is the question of, and this is from my book, but the question is, What is the biggest challenge or consequence? What is the biggest challenge or consequence that your audience will face if they don't hear and act on your message right now? I'll say it again. What is the biggest challenge or consequence that your audience will face if they don't hear and act on your message? I'll say it again. What is the biggest challenge or consequence that your audience will face if they don't hear and act on your message? Okay. Now, it's a really powerful question because it allows us to take our focus off ourselves and put our focus onto our audience. Drop a yes in the chat if you can hear that as I describe that question there to you. Awesome. Fantastic. Fantastic. So, not yet, but in a moment, we're actually going to take a quick 5-minute break. We're going to stand up, we're going to move around, and we're going to grab our tea, grab our coffee as we take a moment before we jump into our first activity of the day. So, not yet, but in a moment, I'm going to see you back here in 5 minutes' time. By my clock, it is 9:00 blah blah, and I'll see you back here 5 minutes, ready to go, ready to rock and roll. I'm going to drop the comeback time in the chat, 9:10, folks, 9:10. Awesome, awesome. Alrighty, welcome back to welcome back, welcome back. All right, welcome back, team. Welcome back. All right, we're going to jump into our first activity for the day, and we're going to learn to roll with situations and scenarios and be able to think on our feet even more, if that makes sense. So, not yet, but I need the help of some volunteers. And what we're going to do, not yet, but in a moment, Susan is going to unmute herself, and we're going to Craig. Craig, if you'd be willing to unmute yourself, that would be fantastic. So, not yet, but we're going to jump into activity. And we're going to shake ourselves up a little bit. And we're going to get into that headspace of anything goes, anything flows. And what we're going to do, I'm going to start telling a story, and then Craig is going to throw a word out to me, and I'm going to integrate that word into my story. I'm going to keep going, and then Susan's going to tell me the first word that comes to mind. And then we're going to go back to Craig there, and we're going to go back and forth. I'm going to go for about a minute there, folks, and we're going to see what I come up with. Awesome. On that note, and it'll be Craig, then Susan, Craig, then Susan, Craig, then Susan. On that note, all right, 3 weeks ago, I went to an amazing country called Zimbabwe. Fantastic. Now, in Zimbabwe, they have a lot of monkeys. Absolutely. They have a lot of monkeys. Now, these monkeys are quite unusual because they are able to, so true, they are able to jump high off buildings, right? Now, when they do this, they're only able to do it because they can eat. Yeah, absolutely. It's the bananas. It's the bananas that make that possible, right? Now, these bananas are quite interesting because they actually taste like, yes, they taste like gravel. Very unusual. But when you eat these bananas, you feel great. And you absolutely, at the end of eating the banana, want to say, fantastic. Everyone drop an AJ in the chat for awesome job for Craig and Susan. Love it, folks. Drop an AJ in the chat. Awesome job. Alrighty. So, not yet, but in a moment, we are going to have a go. And I'm going to let's go with Anju. And I'm going to go with, so Anju is going to tell her story, and I'm going to throw out a word, and Mary is going to throw out a word, and Anju is going to keep telling her story. So it's going to go me, then Mary, and Anju is going to tell her story there. So on that note, Anju, if you go ahead and unmute yourself and start telling us a story. 3 weeks ago, I went to, and over to you, Anju. Go for it. Awesome. Let's go. Tasmania. Excellent. All right. Fantastic, folks. So not yet, but in a moment, we're going to head to a breakout room. And that was simply a bit of a demo. And Not yet, but you get to a breakout room. And you're simply going to have a moment when one person starts telling a story. They're going to pause, then their partner or partners is going to give them a word to integrate into their story. They're going to keep going with the story. And then after 45 seconds, we're going to wrap it up and we're going to bring everybody back. Then we're going to go back into the rooms and then another person will have a go. On that note, folks, we're going to do this couple of rounds so everybody gets a go. And we're going to have a lot of fun as we never know where the stories could go. All right. So, on that note, head to your rooms and I'll bring you back in 45 seconds after the first person's had a go. 3 weeks ago, I went to blah, blah, and then wait for the first person to give you the next word, then roll with it, then roll with it, then roll with it, and roll with it. All righty, folks. 3 weeks ago, I went to. All right. See you back very shortly. 45 seconds. First person has a go. Then we'll bring them back, and the next person. And we'll bring them back, and then the next person. Thanks so much, team. I'll see you back very shortly after the first round of Let's Flow. Alrighty, team. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. So, after this, a little bit of an improv activity, what I would love you to do is if you could turn to page 10 for me, please. Page 10. I'd love you to drop onto page 10. What were your discoveries? What were your learnings? What did you realize as we went through this little bit of an improv activity? And what really stood out to you? Was it that you never know what's going to come? Is it how easily you can integrate things? Drop in the chat on page 10. On page 10, drop your notes. What did you discover? What did you realize then? Alrighty, folks. Fantastic. Fantastic. What I'd love you to do, drop in the chat. What did you discover? What did you realize? What really came to you as we went through that improv activity? Alrighty, awesome. So we're now going to have a think about the fact that all presentations really just come down to a lot of mini presentations. And one distinction that we want to get as early as possible is that amateurs dribble and amateurs don't really think about the structure they're going to put behind their deliveries, right? So the thing is, as a professional or as a master trainer, what we do is we string content together using various structures, and it's kind of like putting puzzle pieces together. Once you know the structures, you can put together your content, using the right structures based on the outcome that you are looking to achieve. And it becomes kind of like an artistic masterpiece in your delivery. All right. So over today and tomorrow, we're going to look at a lot of structures that you could use to package your content together and make you masterful at doing that. So some core outcomes you're going to get from the workshop is it's going to position you as the expert, and you're going to learn how to do that with ease, right? You're going to present with confidence, walk away with multiple structures to deliver your content in, and make it as memorable as possible. Plan and deliver in an engaging manner. Have confidence, poise, and deep connection with your audience, and be able to create transformation in small groups, large groups, and stack the deck in your favor to effectively work with the personalities in your room. Alrighty, folks. Now, for me, I don't know about you, but energy and passion really, really matters. Drop an E for energy into the chat if you would agree that energy matters when you present. Awesome, folks. Awesome. So, not yet, but in a moment, I'm going to quickly demonstrate something. And I'd like you to think about, for you in your life, earlier today, you mentioned a pastime. You mentioned maybe gardening, or you mentioned, I don't know, photography, whatever your passion was. So not yet, but in a moment, I'm going to quickly demonstrate something, and I'm going to go for about 30 seconds, all right? We're going to look at the world of energy and passion. All right, I'm going to tell you something I'm really, really passionate about. Hi, everyone. My name is Mark Miles, and something I'm really, really passionate about and something I really love is martial arts. Now, I've done a lot of martial arts in my life, and, I've really been like inspired by great martial arts movies. I love those. I love Bruce Lee. He was great. But For me, I actually love Arakan martial art, and I train martial arts probably about 3 times a week, and I just really love it. It's a lot of fun. We get really empowered, and it's one-on-one. So, I really, really enjoy doing that. That's really cool, and I find that it's really structured and it meets my learning needs. 42 seconds there. I'm going to stop. That is me and my love of martial arts. All right. Awesome. Done. So, not yet been a moment. You're going to head to a breakout room. And what I would love you to do is tell your partner about something that you absolutely, absolutely, absolutely love. Could be anything at all. I don't mind. But if you could just stay on the one topic, ideally the thing that you talked about earlier today, that would be great. So, you're going to head to a breakout room. And I'd love you to share with your partner for 40 seconds, ideally, or 45, about one thing you absolutely love and why you love it. One thing you love and why you love it. Don't get too complicated. Just what is it? Why you love it? And first person's going to have a go, then stay in the room, then swap over to the other person. It's not really a conversation. It's more, hey, today I want to talk to you about something I absolutely love, and that is blah, blah. I love it because blah, blah, and blah, blah, and blah, blah. Then after you've talked for 30 seconds, swap over to the other person. If that's clear for you, drop a C in the chat and let me know it's all clear. Excellent. I'm going to bring you back in about a minute because that's 30 seconds. Yeah, probably a minute and a half because that's about the 45 seconds a piece. On that note, folks, head to your rooms and have a chat. Have a presentation about something you absolutely love. On that note, folks, go for it, team. Alrighty, folks. Alrighty. Okay. So now one thing that we want to think about though is popping some structure around what we say and how we say it. We want to pop some structure around it. And what I would love you to do is if you could turn to page 11 for me, page 11 there, up the top, we've got a space there for three reasons. What I would love you to do, where we've got up the top, we've got I'm loving it, right? Which is the first one. I would love you to have a think, and I'd love you to write down 3 reasons why you love doing the thing that you love doing. All right. I'd love you to drop in 3 reasons why you love doing gardening, or 3 reasons why you love doing the thing that you have just talked about. Alrighty. Awesome. All right. And once you've got those 3 written down, drop a 3 in the chat box if you could for me, please. Drop a 3 in the chat. All right. So what we're now going to step into is the world of the rule of 3. The world of the rule of 3. Everyone, drop another 3 in the chat box if you could for me, please. What we need to appreciate is great trainers, presenters, coaches, facilitators, and great communicators in general always think about the rule of 3 and they look to deploy it as often as possible. They will often do it in a cadence as well, and you'll hear me do that regularly as I present. All right. So you want to be thinking the rule of 3 because that sits really nicely on the brains of our audience. So on that note, I'm now going to demonstrate my martial arts story or my martial arts passion talk in a little bit more of a concise fashion. And it's going to be a little bit more structured. So let's jump into it. I'm going to go for a minute this time and let's go for it. Hi, everyone. Today, I want to talk to you about something I'm really, really passionate about, and that is the topic of martial arts. Now, I don't know about you, but have you ever been in a situation where you've been a little bit concerned for your safety, or maybe even simply you've been at work and you've been a little bit hesitant to speak up or assert yourself? Drop a yes in the chat if you ever experienced that, or nod your head. Absolutely awesome. Well, for me, I was in those situations. So many years ago, I used to stress out about being out at night or, being at work. I was a little bit hesitant to speak up in meetings or speak to my boss. And so many years ago, I made the decision that I wanted to start a martial art to equip and empower me to really feel a lot more safe and secure in my life. So I started Arakan Martial Arts. Now, I absolutely love Arakan because it's one-on-one. And it really teaches in my structure and how I need. And last of all, it really empowers me with some tools that I can really use out there in the big wide world. That is my story around martial arts and why I love it the most. Awesome, folks. On that note, that was a minute 10, 10 seconds over, but not too bad. On that note, I'm just going to bring up a slide for us here, folks. In that little scenario, that little presentation, how did I start it out, folks? How did I start out the presentation? Drop in the chat. What did I lead with? What did I lead with? I led with, oh, beautiful. I led with a question. Excellent. And the question I led with was, have you ever? Have you ever? I'd love you to write that one down. Have you ever? Awesome. And then I sort of tied in a bit of my origin story as why I made the decision to actually sign up and do the martial arts. Everyone drop an O for origin if you heard my little origin story as I went through my little presentation there. Excellent. Then I went into my 3 reasons and I listed them out. Okay. So not yet, but in a moment, you're going to head to a breakout room. And what I would love you to do is you're going to share your passion, but I'd love you to share it in this fashion. Okay. And it's going to sound like this. Hey, how you going? Yeah, good. Today I want to talk to you about something I'm really passionate about, which is gardening. But before we go into that, I'd love to ask you a couple of quick questions. Have you ever been stressed at work? Have you ever been stressed at work? Yeah, awesome. Have you ever wanted to find something that you could do to just take the stress away from you and life in general? Yep, awesome. Well, today I want to talk to you about gardening, which I absolutely love, right? Now, I actually started gardening about 3 years ago when I was really struggling at work and I wanted to find something or some way to be even more present in life and sort of have a little bit of mindfulness going on. So for me, I made the decision. I went off to Bunnings and I started to find some plants and I started to plant my first plant and I started to really enjoy it. So 3 reasons I love gardening are number 1, number 2, and number 3. That's why I love gardening. And the other person's going to go, wow, that's pretty cool. All right, so not yet, but in a moment, you're going to do a breakout room. And each person's going to have about a minute and a half to share their passion, share their story, then flip over to the other person. So I will give the entire group, all of you guys, so about 3 minutes in total, 1 minute and a half for each person. And the person that's just listening, just sit there, listen, take it in, and that's great. So on that note, head to your rooms and I'll bring you back in 3 minutes time. And the first time you do it, it may be a little bit clunky. It may be a little bit funky, but that is okay. We're just scratching the surface here and we're just slowly peeling back the layers as we practice some of these things. On that note, folks, head to your rooms and I'll bring you back in about 3 minutes. Make sure both people have a go. See you back shortly, team. Go for it. And I will project this to the breakout room if anyone needs it for you as well. Awesome. Welcome back, team. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. So now we're going to stretch you guys a little bit. And on a page 11 there, page 11, what I'd love you to do is I would like you to write down 3 reasons why you love your topic of what you do for your job. Okay, or what you talk about in your training. So for me, it would be public speaking, right? 3 reasons I love teaching public speaking. If I was someone that worked in the world of safety, what's 3 reasons you love talking about safety? 3 reasons you love talking about leadership, if leadership is your thing. 3 reasons you love talking about body language, if body language is your thing. 3 reasons you love talking about admin tasks, if that's your thing, right? So now we're going to look at your vocation, your work area that you train people on. Or maybe it's diversity, equity, inclusion. Could be anything at all. 3 reasons you love talking about that. All right, fantastic, fantastic. So not yet, but in a moment, I'd love you to drop a 3 in the chat once you've got those 3 reasons written down. Excellent, excellent. All right, folks. So not yet, but in a moment, we're going to head to a breakout room and you're going to follow a similar structure and you're going to talk about your new topic now. And that's going to sound like this. I'm going to do an example for you. Hi, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about something I'm really, really passionate about, which is the topic of leadership. But before we go into it, I want to ask you a couple of quick questions. Have you ever worked for a really, really inspiring leader in your life? By show of hands, have you ever worked for one of those? Fantastic. Have you ever potentially worked for a leader that kind of was not the right leader for you and a not so great manager? Have you ever worked for them? Excellent. Well, I'd love to share with you that for me, I'm really passionate about leadership. And I got into the study or the world of leadership about 4 years ago because I noticed the impact that leaders can actually have on humans and their organization as a whole. Now, three reasons I love looking at leadership and teaching is number one, it empowers people to be their best. Number two, you can have a direct impact on people around them. And three, you can really increase the profits of an organization. That's three reasons I love teaching on the world of leadership. Thanks so much, team. Done. All right. So that's what it's going to sound like. And it'll probably take about a minute and a half, just like last time. And each person will have a go. They have a go, then swap over to the other person. On that note, your 3 minutes starts now. Ready, set, head to your rooms. And in this case, Bill's going first, Mary's going first, and Anju's going first. Awesome. All right, team. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Go ahead, drop in the chat. What's one thing that your partner did really, really well? What's one thing your partner did really, really well? Excellent. Welcome back, team. Welcome back. That is fantastic. Great to see. All right. So now, next layer up. Next thing we want to do is start to build even more credibility for ourselves. Credibility. And one way that we can build credibility is to actually show that we've done some research, actually show that maybe we've been around for a while. And one of the ways that people would know that we've been around for a while is if we actually know some of the common mistakes that people actually make in the industry. Okay, so that would sound like, hey folks, so something I'm really passionate about is that of the world of leadership. But before we go into that, I'd love to share with you the three most common mistakes I see in the world of leadership. Number one, leaders think it's all about themselves and they don't really think about other people. A second common mistake that I see leaders make is they speak to everybody in the same way and they don't realize that different personalities get led differently. The third common mistake that I see leaders make is that sometimes they get too focused on the bottom line and they forget about the people. Those are three common mistakes that I see leaders make in the world of leadership. Full stop. So, not yet, but I'd love you to head to page 12 there. And I would love you to write down in your world, your vocational area there, your topic, maybe body language, maybe leadership, whatever it may be. Drop on the page there, 12. What could be three common mistakes that you see people make in your industry? And I'd love you to write those down. Could be anything at all. And then when you've written down your three, just write a three in the chat. And I'm just going to go be quiet for just a moment now. Awesome. Welcome back, team. Great. You see those numbers, those threes coming through there. Fantastic. So, not yet, but in a moment, we get to a breakout room. And all I'd love you to do is you can share the top three mistakes that you see people make in your industry. Okay. So, it's going to sound like this. Hey, how you going? So, today I want to talk to you about the topic of I don't know, the topic of banking and finance. But before I do, the top three common mistakes that I see people make in this industry are number one, blah, blah. Number two, blah, blah. And number three, blah, blah. Those are the top three mistakes that I often see people make in this area. Then you swap over to the next person, they have a go, and that is it, folks. On that note, head to your rooms and I'll bring you back in about 2 minutes' time, 1 minute per person. And no need to rush it, but just have a go explaining the mistakes. And then I'll bring you right back, team. I'll bring you right back as we look at building ourselves some even more credibility in our marketplace and with our audience there. Alrighty, fantastic, fantastic. All right, we are cooking with gas, team. We are doing so well. So now, not yet, but in a moment, we're going to put it all together. Absolutely, we're going to have a great time. We're going to layer these things together. So, not yet, but in a moment, you get to a breakout room, and you are going to follow the formula. You're going to stack a few of these together, and we got name. All right, my name is Bill Smith. Something I'm really passionate about is blah, blah. Before I go into it, let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever? All right. Now, top three mistakes that I often see people make in this area are this, and this. Now, I first got into this many years ago when I was struggling with blah, blah. The three reasons I absolutely love it are this, and this. I am dedicated to helping people do blah, blah. Okay. So that would sound like, let me give you the full example of it. Hi, my name is Mark Miles, and something I'm really passionate about is that topic of leadership. But before we go any further, I'd love to tell you three of the most common mistakes that people make in the area of leadership. They do this, and this. Now, I first got into the area of leadership about 10 years ago because I had a really ineffective boss that really kind of impacted me in a negative way. So I wanted to understand, how do I become a really good boss for other people? Now, three reasons I absolutely love the topic of leadership are this, and this. Now I am dedicated to help people become the best leaders they truly can be. On that note, if that's clear for you, just drop a C in the chat. Let me know that's all clear. Fantastic. You're going to head to a room and simply share this information with your partner. They're going to listen, they're going to be interested, and then you're going to swap over to the other person. On that note, folks, head to your rooms and I'll probably give you about 4 minutes. It's going to be 2 minutes each person. 2 minutes each person. Excellent. Alrighty, I'll see you back here in 4 minutes' time. Alrighty, well done, team. Well done, well done. What I would love you to do is drop in the chat the name of the person you watched and one thing they did extremely well. The name of the person you watched and one thing they did extremely well. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Alrighty, on that note, folks, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to have a look at the ultimate model for training, what it is, what it isn't, why people say yes to us, why people say no to us, and how we can really open the doors to influence when we are speaking to people. On that note, folks, I'll see you back very shortly, and I will see you back here in 15 minutes' time. Thank you so much. See you shortly.